Hey guys, today I'm going to be installing something pretty cool in the Lancer. After installing this, the car will be able to unlock without the need to take the keys out of your pocket, start the engine remotely using the key fob, open the trunk remotely as well using the key fob, and it has a start-stop button as well. So firstly, I'll show you guys the system in action and then move on to the unboxing, tutorial and installation. Alright, today we will be installing probably the most significant mod to the Lancer in terms of electronics that I've ever done. This is a smart key, passive keyless entry car alarm system from a company called EasyGuard. Currently, the kit costs around $150 on Amazon, links in the description. This system comes with a smart start-stop button, remote engine startup and shutdown, passive keyless entry and touch password key entry, which is optional. Upon opening the box, I'm already quite impressed with the packaging quality since, well, I didn't really expect much coming from China.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
So as usual, on top of everything else are the cheat codes, which we don't need. Actually, let's not do that.
Okay.
So after all the manuals and such, we have the key fobs, which are built pretty well in my honest opinion. I chose the one with the uncut HAA blade because why not? You can flick it out like a boss and stab someone. I don't know. Okay, maybe you shouldn't stab anyone, but it is nice to not have a key hanging from a keyring. Then there's the main unit, or the brain of this whole system. This is what everything else plugs into and controls what everything else does and doesn't do. I'm not gonna go too in depth since I myself don't know what exactly plugs into where as yet. That's why I'm making this video, for us to learn together. And under the main unit and the key fobs are the rest of the wiring for the system, as well as the start-stop button. Immediately, I can already tell that the start-stop button is of better quality than the push-to-start system in the previous video. Again, the rest of the wires we will figure out as we get further into the installation of this beast of a system. Time to put everything back together and get started. Let's do this! Here are the tools required: a Phillips head screwdriver, wire strippers, heat shrink tubing and heat gun. You can use electrical tape instead, but I prefer to have a cleaner look. A multimeter, soldering iron and solder. For this alarm system, I needed to access the turn signal lights wires, the horn wire, the trunk release solenoid wire, the side door negative wire, the foot brake wire, a good ground connection, and the wires relating to the central door locking system. Oh, and also I'll need to access the wires from the ignition wiring harness. Everything else like the start stop button, PKE antennas and so on are plug and play. First of all, I tackled the part of the system which most of you guys asked me to clarify in my last start stop button install video, the ignition wiring harness. In order to get where I am here, you guys will need to take a look at my original start stop button video, since the process is exactly the same regarding the ignition wiring harness for that kit and this kit. So from here, we will test the wires to see which ones correspond to the various positions on the ignition lock cylinder. Alright, so the first wire is the 12 volt constant wire, which should always be receiving 12 volts whether the car is on or off. In my case, the white wire is my 12 volt constant wire. As you can see, when I probe the wire whilst the car is off, it's still reading 12 volts. Unfortunately, I didn't record testing the other wires whilst the car is off to show that they're not reading 12 volts, but just take my word for it. So, according to the manual, connect the two red wires from the new ignition wiring harness from the PKE kit to the 12 volt constant wire which we just probed. If your car has two 12 volt constant wires, then connect one of the red wires from the PKE kit to one of them, and connect the other red wire to the other one. Next up, we want to probe for the accessory wires, which only get 12 volts when the key is turned to the accessory or first position. In my case, I have two accessory wires which are the blue and the brown ones. According to the manual, connect the orange wire from the PKE kit ignition wiring harness to the accessory wires. If your car has only one accessory wire, then just connect the orange wire to that one. Next, we have the on wires, which only get 12 volts when the key is turned to the on position, which is the key position right before cranking the engine. In my case, I have one on wire, which is the white and black one. According to the manual, connect the white and brown wires from the PKE kit ignition wiring harness to the on wire in your car. Finally, there's the start wire, which only gets 12 volts when cranking the engine. Unfortunately, my camera messed up this clip, so I'm gonna try my best to explain this step using a clip from my original start-stop install video. So, when your probe is connected to the proposed starter wire, crank the engine, and you will notice that the multimeter shows 12 volts for a quick second. This is how you know that the wire is in fact your start wire. According to the manual, connect the yellow wire from the PKE kit ignition wiring harness to your start wire. Okay, now we're finished with setting up the wires for the ignition wiring harness. Time to move on to the more complicated part, finding and connecting the wires described earlier, such as the horn wire, foot brake wire, indicator lights wires, and so on and so forth. This is where you will definitely need a wiring diagram for your vehicle, since it will be almost impossible for anyone to probe every single wire in the car to find the particular one that they are looking for. I've linked a website in the description which should have a wiring diagram for a lot of the vehicles currently on the market. This website should have most of the information we will need to set up the rest of the wires for this system. So, the first wire I decided to go for was the side door negative trigger wire. It is basically a button switch that's connected to these wires here. In my case, the red wire is the wire which I need to intercept, since it's the one which receives 12 volts when pressing down the button, or when the door is closed. According to the manual, connect the blue and black wire to the side door negative trigger wire. If your side door trigger is positive, however, then you'll need to use the grey wire instead. Next, we have the foot brake wire, which only gets 12 volts when you press down the foot brake pedal. In my case, the green wire is the wire which I'm looking to intercept. So according to the manual, connect the orange wire to the foot brake wire of your vehicle. Next up, we have the horn wire, which only gets 12 volts when, you guessed it, you press down the horn. In my case, the red wire below the steering column is my horn wire. According to the manual, connect the pink wire to the horn wire of your vehicle. Next, we have the trunk release function. If your vehicle does not have an electric trunk release solenoid, then check out my electric trunk solenoid installation video. According to the manual, you want to connect the green wire which says output of trunk to the wire which comes from the solenoid into the car. Then you want to connect the purple wire which says trunk positive / negative selection to the 12 volt constant wire in your vehicle. In my case, I connected a wire from the 12 volt constant which acts as an extension to the purple wire. I'm sure you guys noticed that there's a blue wire connected here. I forgot to mention that you need to connect the blue wire to either the 12 volt constant wire or the fuel pump wire. Alright, now we move on to the central door locking installation. This contains the wires which send a signal to unlock the doors and another signal to lock the doors. I did have to cheat a little bit here to find the wires I needed to intercept. Unfortunately for me, there was no wiring information regarding this for my vehicle online. So I looked up the installation manual of the original car alarm that was installed in my car. Also, that manual gave me the information regarding the type of trigger my car has, and in my case, it's a negative trigger. So according to the manual, connect the white wire to the closed signal wire, and connect the white and black wire to the open signal wire. Connect the yellow and black wires to a grounded part of your car. And in this case, the orange and black wires are not used. Next, connect the two black wires to a properly grounded part of your car. Once this is done, we have finally completed the most complicated part of installing this system. Now, everything else is just plug and play. Now, in terms of installing the PKE antennas, install one of them here. If you have a left-hand drive vehicle, then install it on the left-hand side instead. Install the next PKE antenna here, and install the high-frequency antenna here. Now, in terms of mounting the push-to-start button, you can do as the manual says and install it on top of your existing key barrel, or you can do like me and install it here. If you are planning on doing it like this, then you will need a Dremel or a drill in order to make the hole in the dash. There you have it guys, how to install a passive keyless entry car alarm system in your car. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching, take care guys.